In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the functions in Excel to deal with the normal distribution. So there are two functions we're going to use. We're going to use norm.dist and norm.inv. There are a couple of variants of these functions for when you want to use the standard normal. The standard normal has mean 0 and standard deviation 1, in which case you can use norm.s.dist and norm.s.inv, but I'm not going to use those here. I'm just going to use the standard versions of those. So let's say we have a normal distribution, mean 1500, standard deviation 300. And we want to know what percent of the observations in this distribution are below some number. So let's say 1200. We want to find out the probability if we choose a sample from the normal distribution that it is below 1200. So we use norm.dist. We're taking our observation. It takes the mean, takes the standard deviation, and true for the cumulative density function, and we get 15.87. The probability above is simply 1 minus norm.dist of the observation, mean, standard deviation, true, and we get 84.13. So if we have an observation and we want a percentile or the probability below, we use norm.dist. If, for example, I want the probability between two observations, say the probability between 1200 and 1800, then I simply use norm.dist on the larger number minus norm.dist on the smaller number. So norm.dist of 1800, mean, standard deviation, true, minus norm.dist of 1200, mean, standard deviation, true, and the probability of being between 1200 and 1800 is about 68%. And given that 1200 and 1800 are one standard deviation, that's about right. Now, the other thing we can do is work the other way. So let's say we want to know the observation for which, if we pull a sample from our normal distribution, that we have a 10% chance of being below this observation. So this is norm.inv of the probability or percentile, mean, standard deviation, and we get 1115. And of course, if I put in 15.87, we should get back approximately 1200. So norm.inv and norm.dist are inverse functions. Finally, I'm going to calculate the interquartile range. The interquartile range is the difference between the 75th percentile and the 25th percentile. So that's norm.inv. We have a probability or a percentile. We want an observation. That's norm.inv of 0.25, comma, mean, comma, standard deviation. That's the 25th percentile. And norm.inv of the 75th percentile, or 0.75, comma, B1, comma, B2, which is mean and standard deviation. So I get 1297 and 1702 as the 25th percentile and the 75th percentile, and the interquartile range is the difference between these two. So hopefully that helps understand what the functions are for manipulating the normal distribution. We've got norm.dist, which takes an observation and turns that into a probability or a percentile. And we've got norm.inv, which takes a percentile and turns that into an observation.